this. Patience, be with me. Stay with me, friends. Stay with me. Stay with me. Whoopsie, whoopsie. It's a bumpy ride, bumpy ride. It is a bumpy ride. Stay with me, friends. Stay with me. See. Is that okay? Is that okay? Is that too much? Too much of that? I'm gonna make that bigger so as to force you to look at me. Okay. Yeah. Do something in this program. This is a really neat program, this OBS Studio. It is a free thing, and I'm learning all kinds of cool things about it. So what I want to do is share with you some progress on Alphared number 6 as we do here on the Drawstream, and I'll also go over some fun things that I could possibly be working on. Alright, so this is Alphared number 6, page 1. That is all done. Scanned in. I might send it to a coloring artist soon. Here's page 2. This is also now done. The last Drawstream, you would have only seen it half done. Page 3 is kind of getting there. But some behind-the-scenes stuff, if you tune in, especially early, you get to see some cool stuff. This is also an image that I am working on that I may use for. I don't want to tell you because I might not do it. Some fun things that I have been drawing. You would have seen this a couple of weeks ago when I did it on a live stream. Maybe I should finish it. What do you guys think? It was a really good comic, and I think you would enjoy it. And you get a picture that I drew on it. This would be another fun one to do. Let's see, who's here? Jose, thanks for showing up, buddy. David, thank you for coming. It is good to be back, brother. Music is too loud compared to your audio. Thank you for letting me know. I'm gonna jump on over and nope. We want some audio. We want some music. I appreciate that, David. You let me know if it got better. Alright, so Spawn. I was rereading Spawn. Probably would not let my kids read it, just faith-based wise. Little whatever. But it has a place in my heart because Spawn in the 90s with the Image guys, it was a big deal. It got me excited about comic books. Todd McFarlane is still a good comic hype man, so that it keeps me excited, but it probably won't stay in my house, the Spawn number 1, once it gets drawn. And then Wolverine. Let me see. All right. Thank you, Dave, for the help with the audio. It's always cringeworthy the next time I go through just to see if there are any mistakes, which there usually is. And I hear that it's loud the whole time or there's no sound. Last time there was just no sound. That was embarrassing. So I chopped it up and edited it out. But this is another fun one that I was working on. So, all work and no play. All work on Alphared, no play makes a man grumpy. So, so Matthew from the guy who ordered the last commission with Captain America asked for another one. He dropped off this X-Men today. He lives locally, so he gets he's nice enough to drop by and drop off that. And I sketched out the pose that I would like, and then this you would have seen as this cover. It's Alphared number 1, the sketch cover. But I scanned it in as inks, and I want to to use it for an X-Men 97 poster that I'm working on, and I want to see more of him. So I printed this out, and then I will give him some legs, and we will Photoshop him into the X-Men 97 poster that I want to have for starting with the Hershey show at the end of June. That will be my next show, unless something else pops up. Just to give you a recap of where am I here? It can go down to 77 cents. So that's what I'm looking at, but that's a lot of comics, and that's a lot of money then. So if you can imagine, I don't know if you can do the math, the algebra math in your head, but we are going to get started here. Let's see. No voice sound, only background music. Oh no. All right. Well, let's see. Is this any better? Is this? Okay, it's fine now. You tell me if I'm having audio problems. Okay. I did make a change to the audio. You guys tell me. Just on that video you did. Okay, I'm gonna turn this back down then. Alright, I'll keep my eye out. You guys tell me if you can hear me, and I'll try to talk louder too. My son says that I don't talk loud enough on these. So we'll try to talk louder, and we'll walk you through it. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for letting me know. Alright, so we go back to the handy dandy Pigma Micron pens to get it started. I probably won't use Sharpie. Sharpies were my go-to for so long, and people would complain that it would get brown or gray, and I guess I never had it long enough or didn't expose it to the sun. But the Sharpies the Sharpie pictures from way back when that I still own are not that bad. I don't see any browning or yellowing, but yeah, we will. I have mixed feelings about this this gel pen, this white opaque gel pen. It was really good when I first started, but now it's so spotty. I don't feel comfortable using it in my drawings here. Hi there, I'm from away Cape Verde, 10 islands near west coast of Africa. Well, thank you for checking us out, Marcos. All the way from the west coast of Africa. Nice. Nice. Well, welcome, sir. Micron Madness time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, there it is. So I usually bundle them up like this, and I apologize for just not being as organized as I like to be. I was using it for these actually earlier. Let me show you what else I was working on here. I will turn. Let me try this. Maybe it's when I use this camera. I'm starting to use these new cards, and I'm not a huge fan. The printer said that it would be easy to draw on, and it is anything but easy to draw on, because I've seen Rob Geronimo from Geronimo Draws, and he has these red cards, and he paints white on top of them, and they look so cool. And these look cool. I do admit that they do look cool, but man, they are hard to draw on. And some old cards. If you go to my Etsy shop, you'll see these on there for $30 each. So if you are interested in that, that would be cool. Let's see. Compared to the brown side by side. Okay. Yeah. The Sharpies don't bother me. They don't bother me. But I am on to other bigger and better things as I am introduced to other equipment. Let me see. This. There we go. Other drawing tools by other artists that I watch on YouTube. And so this is like a Pitt pen. I've rubbed it all, like my oils on my hands have wiped it all off. And then I use these Zebra pens. These are pretty cheap. They're about $2.25 a piece on Jet Pens, I want to say is where I get them. But let's get into it. So I want to use a smaller size to start. Okay, let's use an O2, and I always start with the eyes. If you've watched a draw stream with me before, I always start with the eyes, and if I don't, like the Duke, I started with the hair, I think, and messed everything up. It really did. I was pretty nervous too. That was one of my first ones. But I didn't stick with I'm gonna start with the eyes strategy, and it really messed everything up. At least in my opinion, it did. So I noticed that when Jim Lee draws, I can't say that. I was going to say that Jim Lee draws it, and you can see the eyebrows. His eyebrows stick out through the thing, through his mask. But then, just when I thought that was a rule for his version of Captain America, I found that a lot of the times it didn't. So some artists apparently put his blonde eyebrows outside of the mask, and some people put it inside. So I like a big fat A. I know different people do different sized A's, and I've seen them look kind of wimpy. I like the preschool sized A, please. Very big, fat, and obvious that it is our guy, Captain America. We'll go back in and blacken that. I'm just kind of giving myself some shorthand to make sure that I don't forget, because as I do the inking, sometimes it blurs out some of the pencil shorthand that I have for myself. Let's see if I'm missing anything here. Micron Madness. Yep. Those sketch cards look amazing. Thank you, Marcos. How was your mission on introducing Alpha Red over the weekend? Brother Jose, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I was down in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which I have never been in Tennessee I've been through Bristol, Tennessee. I was on a missions trip, boy, I want to say 10 years ago, 15 years ago maybe, down in Bristol, Kentucky. And to get to Bristol, Kentucky, apparently you have to go right into Bristol, Tennessee for like a minute, because Bristol, Tennessee and Bristol, Kentucky are separated by a street. So one side of the street is Kentucky and one side is Tennessee. I don't know why you would do that. That would be extremely confusing, especially like municipal responsibilities and things. But that is how they do it down in Tennessee and in Kentucky. I think if I stayed a little bit longer, I would have caught a southern drawl when I came back. It was such a hoot. People were so nice down there. I was looking for a number 5, and it was in the bag. All right, so let's get in here and thicken up some of this. It's just really rendering. Like, I don't want it to be all black. Like, I know a lot of people just do like this big black thing over the top, but I don't know if I see it as lazy or it just like doesn't appeal to me, but I like it like it has head is blue, and yeah, there are some shadows that create the black thing that really highlight the A on his head, but it should not be like this go-to black spot. George Perez did that, and a lot of them, not just Perez, but I like it a little bit more, whatever. Trade paperback versus floppy go with the new crowd. It is still, Dave, I tell you, it was a mixed bag in the beginning. Some people went right for the trade paperback. Some people went right for the floppies. But really, at the end of the day, the floppies won out because a lot of the families were telling the kid, take just one. Like, that's why number 1 and number 2 ran out first. Because the families would say, you don't know if you like it? Just try issues 1 and 2. And so they bought a bazillion 1 and 2s. Actually, number 2 ran out first. It ran out on Saturday. So there was 2 hours on Friday night where they let the convention goers through the exhibit hall. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the reception that Alpha-Red got that first night, just 2 hours. And I got a lot of attention as I was setting up. A few people had come over and just one guy prayed. Did he pray for me the first day? Yeah, Joe. I believe Joe prayed for me the first day, and he said, "You're going to do so well. People are hungry for this kind of entertainment for their kids, and it's going to be great." And I didn't realize how right he was going to be. It was just family. It's because, not to knock any other Christian creators out there who are making action comics, but a lot of parents stopped and asked if there was cursing and how much bloody violence there was in there, and I was thankfully able to say there's no bloody glorification of extreme violence or anything like that, and they were very happy with it. And a lot of people went home the first day, read it, and took to social media and just really were very generous with their comments and their reviews of Alpha-Red. Some came back and picked up the other comics that I had, which don't do well at all at conventions. I have a comic called Remote Cadets. It's just older art that I retooled the story to turn it from what was supposed to be a 4-issue comic to a one-shot, because I never finished it. So I took the issue and a half that I had, drew 2 or 3 more pages to turn it into a 32-page one-shot, and I really enjoy it. I think it's a really nice, neat little kids in space book. But it doesn't sell because everybody wants Alpha Red. But people were coming back and asking for more, and I said, well, you gotta get Remote Cadets if you want more family-friendly entertainment. And so I was able to give them what they were looking for. Let's see what I missed here. Book readers like the trade paperback. We have seen sales drop when we ran out of issue number 1. Yep. So luckily I have like more expensive versions of issue number 1. I have the foil cover, and those foil covers were expensive to create. They cost like $8.25, $8.50 for each issue to print from Wellspring, and because they only do it by the 25, 25 is the minimum order they'll take. And when I offered Alpha Red number 5 Kickstarter to have a foil cover, my buddy Geo and one other person ordered the foil covers, and so I was torn whether to ask them to not take their pledge that I offered, or to go ahead and spend the money and get it done. And I went ahead and got it done, and I had no idea how much that was going to be. Man, was that expensive. I should have really just reached out to them and said no. But thankfully, those were around when all the number 1s were gone. Some people were, just because they were reluctant to pay the $30 for the trade paperback, that they went ahead and bought the foil cover for issue number 1. There was actually one kid, he walked right up and he says, I want that one. And he pointed to the foil cover number 1. And he said, I'm going to buy that for my buddy. I'm like, oh, okay. So, sight unseen, I didn't pitch him on it. He just walked right up and told me what he wanted, so I gave it to him. The next day he comes up, he goes, I read it, I'm keeping it. Give me another one. It was awesome. So funny. It's like, I need another one for my buddy, because I'm keeping the one I bought yesterday. So that was cool. But so many awesome stories like that that I never thought that I would have, because I thought it would be a hard sell, because I know how tight my budget was when we were homeschooling our kids. We still homeschool. I've got one more coming up through, and we are on a budget. That's just how it is. And so my wife was like, as much as the kids would have liked the entertainment, she said, I'm there for curriculum. And so she was kind of scaring me. And so until you, David, told me that I was going to do well, I was very kind of, I don't know, I was preparing for the worst, for sure. So if you guys have not seen me draw this, the pencil version um, of the Captain America, right here on YouTube's, the old YouTube's, you can go back and you can see the pencil version. I think I start off with some bare bones of him anyway. You don't really see like me going from a blank page to a fully formed thing here. Just because I'm kind of new at the draw stream stuff, like just behind the scenes, just trying to get the camera stuff to go. And thankfully, Dave uh, gave me some, let me know that the audio was bad. But things like that make me kind of anxious. So, in order to eliminate the live stream being a complete bomb, I tend to just do a light sketch, something to help me ensure that the composition isn't going to stink. Let me see what I'm missing. Some homeschool my son, totally worth it. I even taught art to other homeschool kids. That's awesome. We figured out very early on that teaching my kids was not my strong suit. As much as I love my kids and as much as I am naturally somebody who likes to explain things to people, with my kids, I don't know. I don't know if my temper was a little bit shorter, my expectations were a little bit higher. I could not stand it when they said, well, mommy does it like this. And I'm like, well, I'm not your mom, okay? We're doing it like this. And it only took a couple of times before my wife was like, the kids get too upset when you do it. So I was not asked to help homeschool the kids anymore, not even with art. So what are you guys working on out there? Marcos, what do you do out in the west coast of Africa? Do you have comics? What's the comic scene like in Africa? My son did a missions trip to South Africa last year. He went to Eswatini for a month, and then he went to South Africa for 3 months. Let's see. Your Deadpool sketch cover turned out great with the color. I peeked at it today. Yeah, let me bring it over. If you didn't see it, if you came in late, it really did turn out pretty good. So, and this camera doesn't do it justice. It's a little bit more vibrant in real life. So I appreciate you encouraging me by letting me know. So there was some lamenting about all the F-bombs from the homeschoolers that I met this weekend. All the F-bombs from the Deadpool Wolverine trailer. There is much sighing on whether or not to go see it. I don't know if there's a censored version of it, but I doubt it. And there are a lot of people who are excited about like rated R superhero movies, and I just don't understand it. I mean, I want to share this stuff with my kids, and so I don't know. Can you not have a director's cut if you want to do all that naughty the naughtier versions and stuff. Why does it have to be the theatrical release and then there's no cleaner cut? I remember shows used to come on ABC then, or one of the channels, and then you knew that they would cut out some of the bad parts, so you just wait until it came to TV and watch it on Saturday. That was way, way back when. Way. Back when the A-Team used to be on TV. We would go to church on Saturdays. We would go to Vietnamese church on Saturday. And then on Sunday we would have to go to American church because American church was 2 blocks away. 1 block away. 1 city block. It was 2 streets, but really 2 small streets. But Disney used to have like a Saturday night. No, that was Sunday night. Sunday night movies. You guys remember that? Are you that old? Are you as old as me? I know they have a big homeschool con in Columbus, Ohio. If you hit that, let me know and I will come see you. That would be awesome. Yeah, so there's something called the Great Homeschool Convention or something in somewhere in Ohio. I think that may be the one that you're talking about. But that has already happened, I think. I believe they were saying that was in March or April. The Teach Them Diligently people on their website, I believe, are trying to do something in Dayton, Ohio for next year. So it is pending negotiations on the venue, if I am not mistaken. So I would definitely do that. So my wife and I were talking about whether or not, you keep going back to that same well. Like, so everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people have bought Alpha Red in Pigeon Forge. So do I go back to Pigeon Forge next year, where so many of the people have already bought it? Or do I, I'll likely have 1 or 2 more issues, but they picked up all 5 issues this year, and that made it really nice. So do I skip it next year, find something closer, and then go back in 2 years? I hate doing that to those kids. Those kids were so excited. They hung out at my table. They were telling me about their comics. Super Guy here. Let me see how many people. There's 5 people. I don't know if Super Guy. This one kid was telling me about his character, Super Guy. And just so funny. Obviously a take on Superman. And they would do skits. And he played Super Guy and Super Guy's clone. Oh man, he had a whole world going. And it was awesome. Awesome. So fun. Who else is here? What else are you working on? Dave, what are you working on? Are you still working on Torn? Are you inspired? Are you going back to that well? Or are you creating new characters? That was my problem for a long time, was that I kept having new ideas and they wouldn't fit with the story that I was writing for the current character, so I would abandon the character and start a new comic. So bad. Many #1 issues. I was just thinking today whether or not I could salvage Wingman #1 and turn it into a Wingman that I have into the Wingman that I brought into the Alpha Red universe. just kind of retell the story and reuse some of that artwork. Felt like such a waste. Right now I'm prepping for a con this weekend. Okay, just printed a couple new posters. Then back to Torn. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what is the name of the convention that you're going to? You want to shout it out? Give it a plug? I don't know how many people will see this before then. Same way, but what am I, with the cameos of my other heroes showing up in Torn. Yep, that's right. That's right. Did we lose Marcos? I was curious what Marcos does in the west, near the west coast of Africa. A small one-day show. Did you guys do anything for Free Comic Book Day? I forgot to ask because I was, I don't want to say trapped in the convention, but the convention started early, 9 o'clock in the morning. Was it 9? 10:30. Started at 10:30. And I dropped my wife and kid off. Well, no, I stayed. But I went right into the exhibit hall and got set up. Hung out with Joe, a guy who really was very encouraging. He's like I don't even know what to call him. He was just, I don't want to call him a guardian angel because he's just a guy, but he was looking out for me. He was sending people my way. He was at another booth. He was a vendor at another booth, but he was just a true believer in the mission of having family-friendly entertainment, something for the kids to be inspired by, and he really helped make that happen for me anyway. He had cards that he was giving away. I was giving away trading cards, and that was the other thing. Trading cards. These kids were just so into trading cards. I only had one new one. I have some old ones that I tried using or selling a couple of years ago. I guess it would have only been 1 or 2 years. Alpha Red cards, and they just kind of ate those up too. They had no stats on the back, nothing, and the kids they wanted more and more trading cards. That was really weird. So I will be doing trading cards. That will be another thing to kind of make sure I'm taking care of the customers, getting to know what they want, and giving them what they want. But yeah, they were super excited. That was kind of my marketing gimmick. Dave, I don't know if you are if you have a gimmick or what your plan is. I used to just sit at the table with my prices out, and I would say hello to people walking by, but I was not super engaged. You know, I would engage them just a little bit, and if they showed no interest, then I just wouldn't bother them. But this year, after watching, I forget the guy's name, but he does a how to make independent comic books. He has a YouTube channel, and he said you got to get out on the other side and stand there with the people because they can't get away from you then. And you give them something of value, and then you be prepared with your pitch. He said you got to have that pitch for your character. So I had to think about my pitch. Like, what was the hook that was going to get the people interested, to get them to stay around to hear more about your character. Let me see here. Marcos, thanks for asking. My island is small, just 500,000 population total. Oh, okay. Do you guys have comics there on your island? You clearly have internet, so you have YouTube and stuff. So maybe you get digital comics. There are no no, not even close. I imagine not, but people who are inspired by comics will find a way. I remember finding out that comics were sold at the drugstore, just on a fluke. I don't remember even how that started, but once I found out that the drugstore had comic books, I would be up there every week. Every couple of days I would go up. I didn't realize that they only came once a week. So I would ride up there all the time to the drugstore. So anywhere they sold comics, that's where I would be. And then it got me into like looking everywhere for comic books. Bookstores are obvious. Walden Books. I don't know. I doubt Walden Books are even around anymore. But the newsstands. Let me see what else you got. Just a couple people doing a little. Gotcha. Here's a communist root and socialism. So people are very government dependent for almost everything. Yep. They're trying to make America that way too. So I hope that people wake up and stop relying so much on the government here. But the government is definitely trying to get us to depend on them. And I think we should depend on each other. We should depend on each other. Let's see. I was sick this weekend, but managed to grab some free books. Had an artist table at my local comic shop before too. My shop lets me set up for free and make money. Yep. Back when I was in Pennsylvania, before I moved here to New York, I had a local comic shop, and he would invite me, and he kept moving us around. He would try putting us in the front. There were other artists. And so, but I was, like, I think every comic book store has their local guy, because they either know the owners or whatever, for whatever reason. That local artist is their preferred guy that they kind of push, they kind of support, they kind of allow to have some space in the store. So I worked for the guy for 4 years. So whenever Free Comic Book Day would come around, even though I stopped collecting comics because I had kids and I didn't have the money to collect comics anymore, he knew that I was working on Alpha Red. And so he would let me come, and the latest issue of Alpha Red, I would sell that. I'd have my posters. So it was good. It was fun. How about you, Jose? You still there? You drawing with me? I know this is another shot at Captain America, and you drew your Captain America already. But maybe you're doing another Captain America. You know, if we have the opportunity to draw a character for Marvel or DC, you're going to have to draw them a bazillion times. So I don't know if you were here last time when I was doing Captain America, but getting the shield, like a big enough shield, is always kind of a problem. So I just use the biggest circle that I can and usually try to work around that. So the size of this Captain America had a lot to do with the size of this piece of tape, so that I can make it look like his shield is sitting on his back. But and it's so small that it doesn't, like, it wouldn't come down. It doesn't need to come down past his lats. I think those are called lats. So I've been watching some inking tutorials. So, or I guess people, I don't know, I don't want to say they're tutorials, but, and they're not draw streams either, but they do kind of let you watch them, but it's not long form like this. It'll just be like a portion here, a portion there, to kind of whet your appetite as far as how cool their techniques are. And they talk about inks not as tracing, but it interprets the penciler's artwork. So I was like, I don't know about that. I've had some very, very, very bad inking experiences, and boy, I mean, I see what he means, and I've heard the same thing said about how the art of inking used to be, but man, I cringe. Just the thought of somebody interpreting my pencils. Although I did throw out the Cyclops picture onto an inking board, an inker's Facebook inking page, and I just threw out the pencils, and I said, hey, if anybody wants to use this as practice, go ahead and do it. And man, the 5 or 6 people who did it, I was very surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. There were not any inkers that I thought did a bad job. So, all right, I want to use something bigger. That was the biggest thing. I didn't think I was using the biggest thing. It didn't feel like it, because I want to blacken this stuff in. I think it's dying. That's why it didn't feel big. Let's go with the Sharpie. Let's see if Sharpie save the day here, save us some time, because we'll go for another 10 minutes. We'll definitely get this one fully inked in the next 10 minutes, because Sharpie has come to the rescue with his big, beautiful blacks and the darkness and the complete coverages. So Jose, hey James, is issue 4, you kind of predicted a biblical fact about Jerusalem protection by God against negative takeover. Interesting. So I don't know if you watched my podcast with the explanations. So as much as I wish that I had had some deep, meaningful things for Alpha Red, not that I didn't. I mean, like I don't I don't see comics as a place to make a statement on stuff. Like, I started off with an interesting story, a good story. That was my main objective, and then I kind of made sure that there were biblical things in there that kind of were a big part of the story. But at the same time, it was not super thought out and planned in the way that a lot of people might think. I hope that doesn't disappoint you. It sounded like it disappointed Xavier a little bit, and not that it disappointed him, because he gave me a pass, but it was definitely a criticism that he had for me when he was reviewing Alpha Red for his channel. He does a review for Christian comics, and he reviewed my artwork, my Alpha Red, early on, and I forgot I had this thing. This covers a lot of ground here, but there are two of them because one of them is dying. So one of the criticisms that he had for me was some things felt blasphemous, I guess. He just ranted about, was this of God, was it not of God? And I at the time just didn't realize that there were going to be Christians out there who wanted their Christian comics, to be that much more authentic and inspired by biblical truths. Like, I live my life kind of just doing what I think God wants me to do, and when I get stuck, like, Bible verses help me through those problems. And so that's how I write Alpha Red, is that when he encounters some things that he can't explain or whatever, Bible verses will come to mind, and he will kind of be able to level up or become a better person because of it. But unfortunately, I wish I had a better whatever stance or whatever. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, Marcos. No, Cyclops was one of my favorite X-Men. He was my favorite X-Men, actually, back in the day. That's not the one I want. I want the brush. All right, we're going to go in here with the brush, and then I think we'll call it a day. Appreciate you guys sticking around with me here. And if you follow me on these draw streams, when I got an important thing to ink, I go silent, radio silent, because I'm holding my breath. I am convinced that if I don't, I'm going to mess up. Yeah, I talked to these creators, not just of Christian comics, but overall, like, comics, and they pour into the creation of their comics the passions that they have outside of comics, and they're so knowledgeable, and I feel like my enjoyment of comics is too simple compared to theirs. They have this. They're so. It's a bigger deal. I just like having fun. I think they're fun. I think comics are fun, and they inspire. That's what I like about comics. But apparently, I mean, people, I don't want to say they take it seriously, but they enjoy it in a serious way. How's that? They enjoy it in a serious way that I do not. I used to read so many comics because I worked at the comic book store, and I just I couldn't tell you almost anything about any of the things that I read back then. And I was the comic book guy. I was in charge of reading all the comics and talking to all the customers about each comic, which I did. And I believe I did it pretty well. But now, if you ask me about things that happened in the X-Men in the mid to late 90s, I couldn't tell you. I'd have to reread it, just because my brain doesn't hold on to those things for as long. All right. So I give it a bigger outline. Things that are in the foreground, I give a bigger outline just to make it pop. And brush pens are they're dangerous. You have so much control. You have so much control that you can go really bad really quick. So I try not to push my luck with the brush pens, but I see these inkers, like I was saying, they are masters at the control of these things. They dip it, and these are brushes, like the tips are horsehair or whatever, and they just kind of, I would think that they were using a nib or some kind of a mechanical thing. As much control as they have. All right, guys. I think we're going to call it an evening. What do you think? What do you think? I'll probably noodle with it again. You never want to call it quits and then just kind of walk away. You walk away for a couple of hours or a day, and then you come back and you fix what you fix. You do eventually have to kind of walk away from it, because I could sit here and noodle until it's all bad. So, all right, guys, let me read through any last minute things. And Cyclops looks dope. Thank you, Marcos. That's cool, understandable, because the Holy Spirit works. I appreciate that, Jose. All right, guys, I thank you so much for hanging out with me. We'll do it again. We will do it again, I promise. So I hope you guys have a great night, and grace and peace. Gonna hit the outro.